Yes, my name is Jeremiah Christopher from Educare, Tanzania. I'm here in front of you today to proceed with our session. Our session is going to talk about the population or demographic structure. As we see earlier, population refers to the total number of species in the certain area. Or another terminology that you can be able to use, it is demographic. That means that refer to the scientific study of population. When we say scientific study, there is procedures that be followed in order to reach the certain goals. When we study the population, we mean that there is steps that people who collect data in the certain area must pass through in order to fulfill the needs of their study in the population. So, population structure refers to the composition in terms of proportion of people according to certain stated categories such as age, sex, education level, marital status, labor force, skills or unskilled, ethnic status, household. Population structure, here we are going to see the different proportion. The first proportion in the population structure, we are going to see age. Age is among the proportions that found in the population structure. Another is sex. Sex, here we are going to look male and female. We are going to look them in terms of number. So sex is among the proportion that's found in the population structure. Another is educational level. Education's level. Here we are going to see those who reach the different level of education. There are those who reach up to the university level. There are those who have reached there are those who have the O-level certificate education and etc. Others end up in primary levels. Another proportion is marital status. Marital status, here we are going to see those who married and those who are not married. Another labor force, here we are going to look on workers. Here we are going to look on workers, and those workers divided into two. That is, there is skilled or unskilled labor. In the labor force, we know that there are labor who have skilled, and there are others who do not have any kind of skill. So laborers tend to be categorized into two, both skilled and unskilled laborers. Yes, let us continue. Characteristics: health, citizenship, rural or urban category, as well as economic status. Even characteristic: health, state of being physically fit. The state of being physically fit, even this is among the proportion that is looked in the population structure. Here we are going to look at the category of health. If health sectors is well organized and perform good, because there is a kind of place that the health is better compared to the other places. Citizenships, a person who belongs to a particular country called citizen. Here we are going to look at the citizenship. The citizenship, either it can be citizenship by birth, it can be the citizenship by naturalization, even it can be the citizenship by descent. Rural or urban category. Here we are going to look at those who are living in the rural areas. Or urban category. Urban, here we are going to look at those who are living in the town and cities, as well as economic status. As we know that in our society, there are people tend to define the economic status. There are people who have good economic status compared to others who have not good economic status. So people tend to differ in the society. Age, sex structure. Age-sex structure is commonly used in studying the population structure of a country. Age, it can be age of 10, age of 20, age of 30, and etc. Sex, we are going to look the number of males and female in the society. So age and sex structure is commonly used in studying the population structure of a country. In order to study the population structure of the certain country, one must consider these two things, that is age and what? And sex. These are considerable in the studying of population structure of the certain area. Population structure is influenced by the birth rate, death rate, marriage status and rates, incidence of migration, structure of labor force, level of education, economic level, and the political aspect. All these things tend to influence the population. Like birth rate, number of birth, death rate, number of people who die, marriage, people who married, or those who are not married, incidence of migration, people who migrate from one place to another. Either it can be immigrant or immigration. So, even migration acts as among the influenced in the population structure. Level of education, people tend to differ in level of knowledge and skills. Not all people in the society have the same level of education. So, people even differ according to their level of education. Another is economic level. When people differ in terms of economic level, as well as in political aspect. So even the political is among the population, is among the influence of population structure. Representing age, sex structure. So age, sex structure, it can be represented either in a pyramid and it shows different ages and sex. As I said earlier, that in age we are going to look, people tend to differ in age. There are those who have 10 and there are those who have 10 up to 20 and those who have 30 up to 40 and there are those who have 64 and above, that are categorized in the age structure that is called the aging population. Aging population are those people who their age starts from 64 up to other age category. Age sex structure is represented by diagram known population pyramid. So you can able to represent the structure of age sex through pyramid. Pyramid plays a great role to represent the age structure of the population. Also long-term change in fertility and mortality, as well as lesser influence such as persistence in or out migrations, war, and epidemics are reflected in the shape. This population pyramid represent the different things. For example, in migration we look in and out. In are those who come inside, while out are those who go outside. Both in and out are put together in the category of migration. Wars and the epidemics are reflected in the shape. Model pyramid provide guidelines against which actual population may be judged. So all these both migrations, that kind of diseases, that is epidemics, are being represented in the pyramid structure. Okay, now let us see the importance of age, sex, pyramid or population structure. Here we're going to see what are the importance of age sexy pyramid. The first importance is, by studying the population pyramid, it is possible to interpret the population characteristic of any country that they will reflect. By knowing the population pyramid, once can recognize that the age sex structure of the certain area have got the different characteristics compared to the other, because age sex structure of the place differ in terms of characteristics. They cannot be the same. They tend to differ according to their levels, either economic or political level. So through the presence of age sex pyramid, we can recognize that characteristic of the certain population of the certain area or country. Another characteristic is help to understand is the population size of the country. Here we're going to look the size of the population. We can determine the population size of the certain area through the presence of age sex pyramid. By looking at the age sex pyramid, one can able to recognize the size of the population, either it can be large or small. Because, for example, in the pyramid there is a categories of aging population. Here are those people who have 64 age and above. It can be large compared to those child who are born in 0 up to 5 ages. So through the presence of that pyramid, it can play the great role to show the age, sex, structure, size of the certain kind of population. Another is help to understand the age sex proportion, how this age and sex proported from one category to the other categories. So through the presence of this pyramid, one can able to understand the age sex proportion of the population. Another point is help to know the dependency ratio, which can be high or low. Dependency ratio, this occurs especially in the aging population. Aging population is this kind of population age group tended to have the higher dependency ratio due to the low productive force. For example, those people who his or her old start with 64 and above tend to depend much to the other, since they do not have power to produce. Hence, dependency ratio taking place. And this dependency ratio tend to differ. It can be either high or low. It depends on a certain kind of population of a certain area. Another point is to understand the level of economic development, where more advanced or less. So through the population pyramid, we can able to understand the level of economic development. For example, our population pyramid maybe of our Tanzania country tend to differ with the population pyramid of the China due to the different reasons. For example, in China, as we know that China is among of the developed countries in the world. You can compare China with Tanzania today. So they tend to differ in the level of development in economy. So through the presence of this age sex pyramid structure, it plays a great role to show and to determine the economic level of different people from the different country. So another characteristics or importance, another importance is help to know the fertility and the death rate which occurred for the certain period of time. For example, after taking the data during the census, they know the number of people who died at that year. Within that session, they know the number of people who born at that period of time. So even through this pyramid, we can recognize those fertility either taking place in a high amount or in a low amount. So through the presence of pyramid, you can able to understand the fertility and the death rate. So this is among the importance of population pyramid. Another is to know the population growth are whether high or low stationary. When you say stationary, you mean that's something that is in which is in stop. There is no moving or come back. That means to stop. So the population, it can be stop or growth. As we see that through the population pyramid, you can understand population growth. By looking at the population pyramid, we can able to see that this population tend to be large or not, whether high or low or stationary. So through the process of population pyramid, population growth, it can be able to be known that is high or low or stationary. Another point is to determine the life expectancy, which can be either high or low. Even due to the presence of population pyramid, we can able to recognize the life expectancy of the place. Here we are going to know the number of people who are expected to live as a certain period of time. As we know that the life expectancy tends to differ from place to place. For example, for those countries that is developed like Japan, China, Korea, tend to have high life expectancy due to. Okay, let us see another importance of population structure. They also help in determining the country's future demographic trend and the possible outcome or the problem. It is through studying the population structure of the certain place we can able to determine the future demographic trend. As well as that demographic refers to scientific study of the population. Demographic trend in different ways. There is tend to differ from the place to place according to the time. So through the presence of population structure, we can able to understand the demographic trend of the certain population and the possible outcomes or problem. Another importance of population structure is can help in the formation of population policies like family planning. It is through the presence of population structure the government can able to plan the family. It is through the presence of population structure the government can able to plan the family. Hence, due to the planning the family within the country, it can play the great role to promote the development, since it is simply help the government to plan the budget for the development of our country. So through this population structure, we can able to plan the family within our country. Another point is it can facilitate the planning process for the social and the economic development. For example, the government can plan for the types and the range of distribution of welfare services needed for the population. So through population structure also the government can able to plan the development how? Here we look in different levels such as social development and the economic development. So through the studying and the understanding the population structure, you can able to plan for the development of economic and the social development within the certain country. So That is all about the importance of population structure or demographic structure. Let us now see what are the population pressure. Population pressure is a situation in which the number of population is greater than the carrying capacity of the land and its resources. Here we are going to look at the relationship between population and the available resources within the certain place. As we know that there are the places that have a high population compared to the available resources. So if the place have the high population and the shortage of resources tend to bring the negative impact to that society, since there are different hazards that can able to occur due to the large number of people in a certain area. For example, deforestation will take place fast and easily because people, they are in large in number and the available resources, it is small in number. So there is no relationship between the available resources and the number of people. So if the resources is shortage and the population is high, this is not good for that place to having the good looking or structure. So in order to maintain the population for development, we must to have the close and interrelated relationship between number of people in a certain area and the availability of the resources. In this case, the resources are fewer than the number of people and hence cannot satisfy the need of the people in that particles. Population pressure is related to the overpopulation. Population structure is related to overpopulation. When we say overpopulation, we mean that the number of people is large compared to the available land. At a national level, Tanzania seems to have no population pressure. And the population pressure, those developed countries, they tend to have the high population compared to the developing country. For example, China, Japan, they tend to have the high population due to their advanced levels of science and technology, even the social services advanced. So that encourages the development of population, and hence the population tend to be high compared to the developed countries like Tanzania that don't have the high population. This is a case where one relates the available area of land to the population of the country at the large. Nonetheless, population pressure can be said to exist only at the local level, such as family or regional level. And so, as we see here that now, the population pressure tend to spread or to exist at the level of family and the level of region. For example, the Chagaland has got a population pressure unlike other part of the central Tanzania. So now we know the population can tend to exist according to the different levels, that is regional level and the tribes level or family level. Therefore, at the national level, Tanzania seems to have population pressure. This is the case when it relates the available area of land to the population at large. Okay, after seeing the definitions of population pressure and the things that related with the population pressure, let us now see the factors that lead to the occurrence of population pressure. The first one is fertility of the soil. The place that have fertile soil tend to attract people and lead to the population to be high because people tend to go there and engage in the agriculture activities. This is the soil supporting agriculture compared to the areas that did not have the fertile soil. For example, southern zone of Kilimanjaro mountain, people tend to surround those areas because it supports the agriculture activities due to the fertile soil. Another point is availability of mineral in a certain area, which also attract a big number of people. Even the ability of mineral, people they can inject there in mining activities. So due to the availability of mineral, it leads to that area to have the large number of people compared to the area that did not have the minerals. Another is availability of water. Water, as you know that water is among the key things in our society. We live and our life depends in water. So water is very essential in our life. So the area that the availability of water tend to have the high population compared to the area that have the shortage of water. Another point is cultural aspect, like land inheritance and tenure can lead to the population pressure. There are some tribes that practice some cultural aspects. So due to those cultural aspects and belief, even this contributed to the population of certain place to be high compared to the other area. For example, land inheritance. Land inheritance, people tend to believe that this culture aspect make them to produce in high rate. So the population will be high due to the believing of this kind of cultural aspect of the people in a certain area. Another point is that leading to the population pressure is scarcity of arable land can make people concentrate on the availability of small pieces of the land to carry out their agriculture activities. The areas that have the fertile soil tend to attract more people. So they tend to make people to be collected in a small area, and hence the population will be high. Another point is the population policy on population control. The population has control of population growth and distribution as well as land ownership, but where the policy is poor, there occur population pressure problem. Here we are going to see the rules and the regulations that is put by the government. The places that follows those regulations and rules tend to have the stable population compared to the areas that do not follow those rules and the regulations tend to have the population pressure problem since they do not follow the regulations that are kept by the government in order to maintain the stable population for economic development. Okay, after reaching there, let us now see the questions that relate with our discussion, that is, explain the factors for the population pressure. Here we are going to look those factors that contribute to the occurrence of population pressure. Why some area experience to have the high population pressure compared to the other areas. So there are the factors that tend to explain these reasons for the population pressure to be high compared to the other area.